Hey guys, this is Eric Weingarten with Weingarten Racing. Today's video about me not being a nice guy. It's not all that it's about, but I wanted to start with that. The other things covered in this video is I'm going to talk about the LS Dyno Mule project. Something weird happened this week, and I shared it with channel members, not with subscribers. That's why I'm sharing it on this video. Something really strange happened with that. I'm gonna get to that. It's an update, so we got also updates about what's going on with the S10 and also my son's Nova. Although that's kind of depressing at this point. But anyway, I want to start off by saying I am a cylinder head dealer. I sell cylinder heads for just about every brand that's out there. I also sell intake manifolds and all performance parts. But I also, this is my biggest thing, is I port cylinder heads and intake manifolds. So I think a lot of you think I just do YouTube. No, it's mostly cylinder head porting and intake porting. So if you're needing that done, yeah, here I am. But not just YouTube. But we'll go ahead and get started with the I'm not a nice person. I know you're watching me on YouTube and you're thinking, man, this guy seems like a really nice guy. For the most part, I would say I am, but there are things that, and I think it applies to any person, that just make a person get instantly upset. Promise you it would. It varies by person, obviously. But anyway, for the most part, I think I'm a nice person, but I absolutely, and I know some of you that called in and maybe some that are still watching this, no, I am not a nice person. So let me tell you the whole situation with it and I'll describe. So what happened was a person had emailed me and they asked about a set of AFR enforcer heads and whether it would match a certain intake manifold. If you're that person that emailed me, I'm going to actually answer your question in this video. So because you asked, I'm answering it here. But anyway, so he said, I bought a set of AFR enforcer heads and I want to see if it matches this manifold. What would this do? So I responded in the email. I said, who did you buy them from and when? Because I was really trying to see if they bought them from me. If they bought them from me, I try to provide the best customer service possible on things I have sold you. And I'll give you a prime example. So last week I was on the dyno the entire day because what had happened is I sold a customer a set of heads and he put it on the dyno and it didn't make the power. So then I said, why don't we just get on Dunsworth Dyno and I'll go down there and I'll just start testing and we'll just see what we can't find. I was on the dyno the entire day from the first dyno pull to the last dyno pull, getting 53 horsepower. I picked up that entire dyno bill, which was $750 plus fuel plus the time out from work. Didn't even get a thank you, but that's customer service. I don't know very many, if any, cylinder head company that you buy a cylinder head from that when they say they don't make power, they'll give excuse this, excuse that. But how many of them actually work with you to try to make it better, like actually go there and work? I don't know any. So the point being is for customer service, I think I do a pretty good job for customers, which means they have bought from me. So anyway, the person emails back and says, no, I bought them from this one place off of a Corvette forum. This is the second time this has happened. Because what has happened is I am an AFR dealer, but so are many others. AFR has a minimum advertised price that they allow people to sell from. Because the point for this is that they don't want someone selling just a ton of their heads at a very low ball rate, and it screws all the other dealers. And this person isn't even he's not a head porter. He's just a seller. He just happened to get an AFR dealership and he just sells heads. So he sells them less than the rest of us. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I sell heads for the same price that Summit and Jegs does. Here's the catch. I have to charge shipping. They don't give me, even though I spent $45,000 in shipping last year, I still have to pay shipping. It's not as much as, it's just not as, I can't do the free shipping that Summit and Jegs does. The other thing is, this is behind the scenes stuff. You wouldn't know this, but Summit and Jegs actually gets heads. This is peachy. They actually get heads below the dealer WD price than us regular dealers do, like our master WD. So they're actually getting even less than us, which is absurd. Here it gets kicker. They're actually charging like AFR and Brodix and other things to put their cylinder heads on like the front page of their catalog that goes out. So not only are they getting heads cheaper than us dealers are that provide actual tech support, they're actually charging them to put them at the front of their catalog so that they can get more money. I can't imagine why they have free shipping. But anyway, I, however, have to charge shipping, but I don't have to charge tax for most of you. There's an exception, obviously, in some places. But since I'm an actual small business, I haven't met the nexus for many states to have to charge sales tax. I do have to charge a credit card fee because credit cards charge us. and be like, you're just trying to get rich. Dude, they charge about 4%. So I charge you about 4%. Every month, I think the last month was $1,500 on those fees. That's just money coming out of the pocket, especially when you're not really making that much off heads. Point being is, I am not undercutting others. I'm just not going to do it because there's not enough profit to it. This is my main salary, is doing cylinder head stuff. So when you have someone that just does it on the side, they could charge way less because they have zero overhead. And also they could care less. If they make 40 bucks, made 40 bucks. They got to provide tech support and answer during the day. So anyway, the guy had come back and he'd said, hey, no, I bought him from so-and-so and he didn't know anything about this. So then I'm like, so my response back, and this is me not being a nice guy, I go back to the beginning of this, man. Said, look, man, I'm paraphrasing, obviously. Look, man. The reason why I asked is because I don't mind providing tech support for stuff that's bought from me, but I don't want to be the tech line for Summit Jegs and other people. That seems like the most disrespectful thing you could ask me, is an ask for something you knowingly have bought. And you know I sold it, because I say it in so many other videos too, especially that AFR Enforcer one. I know you probably watched the video of me actually talking about the heads, flowing the heads and whatnot. You knew I sold it, but you went somewhere else to save a buck, but then you asked me for tech help. Come on now. That, to me, that's disrespectful, but I'm still going to answer your question. So anyway, I was like, man, you didn't buy it from me. Sorry, dude. Might want to ask the guy you bought from. But of course, he'd already said he didn't have the answers. So it sounds like I'm a total dick, and I get it whenever I say that stuff, but I want to be upfront with you. I am not the nice person you see on YouTube. Like, I have no problem helping people out. I truly do not mind when I have time. The thing is, small business owners will tell you this, you never have time. I work 7 days a week. And I could tell you this, if you rush someone, they're far more angry. They just are. So if you have no time in the day and someone asks for one little thing, even though the thing's so extremely small, like a small thing to get done, it might make them just fly off the handle. It's because your thing isn't the small thing. It's just the last thing. So what I'm trying to get at is, I am not nice. There's things like people will email me and I won't respond because I'm like, no, I'm going to say something I just don't want to. So sometimes you're like, you never email me back. I asked a question. If you ask a ridiculous question, I probably won't answer, because I get some of those too. And then I get people that argue with me during emails. Look, buddy, I actually test stuff. And that brings up another point. Please, if you're buying a set of cylinder heads from me, have me port the manifold. Because yes, I probably charge more than others too, but I test stuff. So I kind of know what's going to go with it and what should work better. But anyway, I try to provide as much free tech support in the YouTube videos. I think I got like almost 600 now. So there's so much stuff there. But anyway, his question actually is this, and I'm going to answer it. His question was, look, I've got a mini RAM manifold, and it's a 1206 entry, so it's tall. But the AFR heads he ordered were the Enforcers, and they're 1205, so it's small. So the intake is this, and the head is this. Is it bad? Well, this is one of the things where I wish people watched the videos, because you'd get this. And I'm going to do a little pause here for a second as I describe. You want to know how smart some people are, if you could truly tell how intelligent they are, it's this. And I'm not knocking anybody, but this is how a true measure. If you really want to judge someone's intelligence, this is the test. Truly the test. You use knowledge from something else and apply it to a different situation. That, to me, is intelligence. There's probably some real name for it. What I mean by this is, let's say you go to school and all this for your mathematics, your basic high school stuff, and people say, I never use that stuff. No. Smart people found a way to use what you learned in school and applied it to different areas that wasn't related to necessarily math or history and whatnot. That's what makes a person truly smart. So if you'd gone back in my videos and you'd watched when I did the AFR 227, I'd actually done a flow test with raising the adapter up and lowering the adapter, the flow adapter that we use on the flow bench, to measure how much flow changed by raising and lowering. Had they used that knowledge, it would have answered their question. That's, even though it wasn't directly related to their head, it answered his question. So to his question, having the smaller head Bigger intake manifold, bad. You could also have gone back and looked at the dyno test on a big block Chevy, because I know you're like, well, I don't care about big block Chevy. Using stuff, knowledge from other engines and applying it to the things you're using is smart. If you'd done that, you would have saw that we did an oval port head and put a rectangular port intake on it, which is way bigger. Lost a ton of power. Applying that to his small head, his big intake, it's a loss. So the question is, well, how do you solve it? Truly, the answer to solve it is you could shrink up the intake, but you'd probably have to apply epoxy. And let's face it, even I don't put epoxy in several of the customer stuff because I'm afraid of it coming out, because I don't care how good your epoxy is, it's going to come out. It's just a matter of time. So I don't like to do that with customer stuff, because even though they say that they're cool, eventually they're not going to be. So the alternative is make the head port bigger. So what you'd have to do, which is a horrible, it is a Band-Aid, truly Band-Aid. What you would do is you would take you'd have to disassemble the heads. So now your cheap head actually costs a little bit more. You'd have to disassemble your heads, and you would scribe your lines to match the intake manifold with it, which is a little bit tricky, but at least with a mini ram, you probably could stick a scribe down in there and scribe your line on the heads where you need it to be. And then I would grind that port and open it up. Now I know he asked, well, does that affect velocity and stuff? Yeah, it will at the pinch, but in an AFR enforcer head, the pinch is kind of small. But however, you're on 355, so you probably should have had that part a little bit small to help with velocity, but the power loss you're going to have. So everything with an engine is compromised. The power loss you're going to have with having the intake bigger than the head is more than the velocity loss by making the head port bigger. By the way, that's still a hefty amount of grinding. So my suggestion is go to my website, my online store, which I'll put a link in the description so you can buy the school shirt too. I have used burrs there, and you could buy the used burrs so you could grind them. They're like $25. The used burrs, the benefit to those, I've tons of hours on them, so they're not as aggressive as a brand new burr. So you're not going to be, you're less likely to take out a huge amount of material and then regret what you've done. So go to my online store, you can get those. And what you would probably need is I use it's a rounded straight. So it's a 1/2 inch and it's got a round at the end. That's what I use for that part of the port. It'd be perfect. I'd also get the oval one that I have there, because that would get the corners easier. It's just, those are the two you need. You don't need the flame. Flame, I use it over short sides and stuff. So, but that's the two you would need, and that's what would get your job done. So hopefully that answers your question. Now, let me talk about the LS stuff. Okay, here is the ProMax LS3 small bore head. And if you're looking at it, you've done work, you cheater. Well, here's the reason why. One, several of you may not know this, but I do sell dyno books for each dyno session. So I have to collect all the data, and all that data goes in the dyno books. Speaking of which, please, please, please go to my online store, link in the description, and pre-order the first quarter dyno session. Get those, because I am sending them to the printer this week. I was going to do it last week, but I just got too busy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to order only a few more than what I have already ordered, and that's it. So after that, it's only available in PDF, and some people hate looking on a computer screen, so please buy the books. But anyway, point being is I gather all the data from the head and I put them in the books. And like, what data do you gather? Well, one, I flow the head. Two, I CC the head, and also take measurements throughout the port. So to this ProMax head, I just got done doing the stock 823 head, which I'm going to do. That's probably going to be the video on Monday. So I'm going to share all the flow numbers with it, the actual CCs and whatnot. But anyway, I got to this head, the small bore one. It's a 208-1600. And I was just doing the normal stuff. I'd flowed it, and I was like, man, it didn't flow near as good as the first one. So if you go back and look, and I did a video on the small bore LS3 head, it flows like 350. Well, this did not. Matter of fact, here's the flow numbers, which I'll do a separate video anyway. It only went 330. I was like, that sucks. Actually, 332. I was like, what the hell? It was like 350 before. So the one, that was bad. And partly because of the valve job, and it looked like the aluminum on this side, and I know I'm not shining light very good, and that's because I'll probably do a whole nother video, but it was dipped in here underneath the short side, so I was like, oh, that sucks. Also, I checked the valve job, and all but one didn't seal. It was one of the exhausts. What happens whenever they did their bowl blend, which I'll take a picture, it'll be in that video too, their cartridge roll just came up and nailed the seat, which some of you might do that if you're amateur head porter. But anyway, nailed the seat. And it obviously didn't seal up. So I had to put it on the valve seat and guide machine anyway to get that one. But when I floated, I was like, that sucks. So part of me was like, I need to redo the valve job. But that wasn't even the biggest issue. I CC'd the intake runner, 250 cc's. No big deal. These are supposed to be 240s, by the way. So that's 10 cc's larger than they claimed. That wasn't the problem. This was. I CC'd the chamber, 57.2 cc's. When I'd order them, they're supposed to be 63, but I like, maybe they mixed up and they gave me 59s. Either way, that's way under. So the point I'm getting at on that is, this will be the ringer in the test anyway, because if you look at the heads that are being tested are the stock 823s. That chamber was 69.2 cc's. The other one's the AFR Enforcer, which I think they said they're going to ship it on Monday. I hope so. So I can get all the measurements done on it. It's supposed to be something like 70, so it's big. And I might put the LS large bore head on it, but I think that one's like 72. This one was 57.2 cc's. So this one's so much smaller of a chamber, like incredibly small for a chamber size. So forget the flow numbers. It's probably going to make more power and torque anyway, just simply because of the very, very small chambers. Just to give you an idea, this will yield me about 12.9 compression ratio. The others are going to be right around 11.2. So yeah, that's really, really high. So as you know, with the dyno mule test, the plan was that what I was going to do was put the supercharger on each one of the heads and test it, because this way I could see how much power it makes NA and also how much power it makes with boost, so I could compare them. There's no way in the world I'm putting a 12.9 compression ratio motor on boost. You're like, well, you could do it with methanol. Yes, I have a methanol blow through carburetor, but your tune better be spot freaking on, and I don't have the time on the dyno to do that. So, I think I'm just still going to run it. I'm still going to add it to the test, but I'm just going to run it NA, and then I'm switching. So because of that, I was like, well, shoot, it's already not going to be kind of comparable to the others anyway, not even close because of the compression ratio. So it's like, I'm just going to go ahead and redo the valve job. And I know you're like, well, I wanted to see what it would do stock. If you wanted to see what it would do stock, it would leak. That's what it would do. It would leak out one of the exhaust ports. But it didn't flow near as good as the first one they sent me. So I redid the valve job, and it actually did pick up some. So now it does actually go 351, but it does at 625 left. It's just not as good as what it was. But anyway, so that was kind of a weird deal on that end. So there you go on that. So yeah, putting these together. The only thing I'm not certain of is I'm still debating whether I'm going to bring the large bore LS3 heads from ProMax to dyno test, because I did redo the valve job on it, but they suck because it didn't seal at all. But I put a 3-angle, not a 5-angle like I did here. This, the reason why the chambers are the way they are, because I had to blend in that top cut, so that kind of did that too. So I'm going to re-CC obviously this and see what they are. Hopefully they're like 59 or something, a little bit lower. They're not going to get to 70 something. But anyway, that's why you see the blending and whatnot, which will be a whole nother video. But I may actually bring those other ProMax heads, and the reason for that is so I can get a better comparison between them, I guess. But the only thing that might limit me on that is time. And here's the other thing. This may or may not happen, so I'm really kind of looking forward to this. Another supercharger company besides Vortex thinking about sending me a supercharger to test as well. That would be interesting because then I'll have two different superchargers. I'll get them to the same boost level. So one makes 5 pounds, the other makes 5 pounds. Which one actually makes more power? Because then we can actually say, well, what you'd be measuring is which blower is actually more efficient, which would be kind of neat. But I don't know if that's even going to happen. What I'm trying to do is save up enough money so I can dyno test the entire week. So it's going to cost a fortune, not to mention the loss of production will be huge. So yeah, but the plan is my dyno budget, obviously because of the whole customer issue where I had the dyno last week, that blew my dyno budget for this month. But hopefully in May, we'll get to do some LS. Thought I was going to do the big block first, but it looks like it might be the LS. Things are coming well on that. The truck Norris cam actually showed up too, because I'll be testing 2 cams, the Speed, Texas Speed one and the truck Norris. I may actually, if I just have a little bit more money, I might actually do a custom one for this. Oh, that'd be spicy. Just to see something with some real teeth to it. But anyway, that's what's going on with that. As far as the truck and the supercharger on that, I sent it off and Torque Storm took it apart and they're like, doesn't look like anything's really all that damaged. They tested on their thing. They're like, everything looks fine. So I said, okay, just put a smaller pulley on it. So once that gets back, I'm going to go put it on the chassis dyno. I'm going to do some measuring there to see. We'll try to switch it to an E85 and get that working well. And then maybe we'll go back to the track. Probably at that point, it'll be the temperatures in the 90s outside and I'll be miserable. So I probably won't even want to go to the track. Not to mention, I don't have time anyway as it is. As far as Bishop's Nova, nothing's done. The parts of the rear end came in. He's been too busy doing stuff. And even though I should be working on Sunday, I haven't had time because I've been trying to make money to make up for the losses. So, yeah, it is what it is. So you might, well, you got this valve job done, you ain't making no money. Yeah, I actually did that. I stayed till 9 here at the shop working one night. So anyway, that's what's going on. Remember, I'm not a nice person, but for customers, I try to give you as much respect as possible. Please remember, I'm a dealer, so please try to give me a chance to sell you some heads. Remember, I'm the one-man shop, so if it's an email or a phone call, I'm the one doing it. It does take time. So, but anyway, also, I do have a lot of testing experience, so it does, I think it plays a part. But guys, I'm no Superman. I do not port cast iron heads. Oh, one more thing. I did start my Facebook page, my business one again. So for those that don't know, there's one that says Weingartner Racing LLC. Yeah, that one got hacked. I can't even get into the thing, so probably several of you have been sending me messages on Facebook like nonstop. I'm like, this dick isn't responding. How dare him? He doesn't care about his business. Yeah, because I can't get into it. So I started a new one. It's called Real Weingartner Racing. And it has 0 followers as of this morning because I just did it. But if you're on Facebook, instead of trying to friend request me, just go to Weingartner Racing. Sorry, Real Weingartner Racing. And it'll have here's how you can tell if it's real. It's got a picture of the S10 on the launch. And in the background, I can't remember what. Oh, it's got the one of the Dyno Mule small block Chevy with the tunnel ram in the background. That's mine. You can follow it there. I'm gonna try like all get out to post more pictures because you think, well, many videos you put out, you should put out more pictures. I probably should, and I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. That's the best I could say for that. It's sad too because the coolest thing that I've done this week I can't share with a single soul, and it's too bad because that head, when I say it's the baddest, it is the baddest I've ever had on my bench. Period. Bad. Can't even talk about it or nothing. But yeah, it's a bad dude. And for the guy that's that's paying for that, he knows that's a bad dude. But anyway, guys, take care.